who also got caught in that situation where they told a story, but yet they're trying to hide behind the shield of journalism? That
Ooh.
reporter that got into it with Joel Embiid.
Yeah, dude, I didn't really look into that one. Can
Yeah,
you?
so
You have the
basically,
video or something? Yeah.
I'll tell you what happened. So basically, yeah, Marcus Hayes. So Joel Embiid got into a back and forth with Marcus Hayes. I'm gonna play exactly what this guy wrote. He wrote something about Joel Embiid's brother who passed away in a car accident. He brought him up for like no reason. It has no correlation to anything, but he sort of brought him up for some reason about Joel Embiid needing to show up for work. Take a listen to what he said. We're gonna play what he said. It's so ridiculous as a writer to even write that. But again, this is the issue. These guys write this dumb shit. Then when they get
Mm.
confronted, they hide behind this journalism shit.
Yeah.
Like, let's check it out.
It's stupid because, like,
Hmm.
just like any other person, if they're insulted about whatever, they'd obviously press them, and you have to have some accountability.
Yep.
Just because you're athletes doesn't mean like you're gonna skip all accountability.
Yep. He's gotta hold him to some sort of standard. And Joel Embiid was right for pressing him about it because he didn't even criticize his on court shit. He why did we let's take a look. Let's listen to exactly what this guy wrote.
Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son, Arthur, as the major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great to leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother, who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76ers. Well, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. Embiid has been great at just the opposite.
Yo, that's not crazy. He said his brother who tragically died, and then
That's a
goes,
whack ass statement,
yeah,
man.
and then the next sentence
Yeah.
go, well, in order to be great at your job, like you got to show up to work.
Yeah.
And this is
That's
where
so tasteless.
yeah, and this is where the media landscape puts some of these quote unquote journalists in a tricky spot because they're no longer in the business of storytelling. They're in the business of just trying to get attraction. Like it's almost
Yes.
like a media outlet like The Athletic. A lot of these writers who write stories for them, they actually get paid based off of performance. If no one's reading their shit, they don't really get paid like that. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of these a lot of these media institutions that used to exist, these big conglomerates, they actually hire a lot of their writers based off of the same scenario. Maybe they're 1099, they're not direct employees, because this guy is fully reaching. And Joel Embiid confronted him in the locker room. Basically, Joel Embiid confronted him in the locker room. They went back and forth. And then Joel Embiid said, the next time you bring up my dead brother and son again, you're going to see what I'm going to do to you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to live with the consequences. And then Hayes tried to apologize. Embiid didn't want it. And then Embiid says he doesn't care about the media. And this dude responded, but you do. These guys be thinking that they're so important, man.
Yeah. Dude, they're way over their heads. Like, bro, you have a job because of these athletes.
Exactly, man. And the audience doesn't necessarily care too much unless your storytelling is really good,
Yeah.
man. They want to tune in for another player's story. That's how you
Yes.
build up credibility with the audience. You just don't troll the player. This guy says, but you do care about the media. That's crazy. And then Embiid, after he said that, Embiid kind of pushed the guy back and forth, and then people
Yes.
separated them. And then there was a security guard in there. He told people right away, he told media members right away, don't report this to anyone. This shit is kind of crazy. But
The guy is out of line, man.
yeah, he is out of line,
Um,
and he doesn't seem like he's sorry for it because
no,
it's
because
part
he
of
knows, bro.
it's
Oh, my
part of his
bad.
business. My bad.
But dude, he also knows that if a guy close to 300 pounds, 7'3" guy kicks my ass, you know what I mean? Like you can flip that into your benefits.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what's so
Yeah.
funny? The Philadelphia 76ers still allowed a guy to be in the locker room after all
No, you
this.
should be bad.
Yeah, afterwards. I'm shocked about that. Like his media
Yeah,
pass wasn't revoked or anything like that. He's still allowed to be there and cover the team.
you should be bad. Because what the fuck? That's your franchise player.
Yeah, this is a weird scenario that's playing out with Embiid. Um, again, the media, they're in the business of sort of and it's not their fault, the media members, but they are in the business of sort of trolling.
Yes.
The way I've seen them cover the league, they sort of
It's
troll a
not
little
sincere
bit.
anymore.
Yeah, they sort of troll a little bit, but try to hide behind journalism at the same time. And so some of them do it, not all of them, but some of them do it.
Yes.
But it's crazy because the ones that do it, that are on the same level as other, kind of like the Zach Lowe's or like the high end storytellers or just writers, they sort of protect them still. They go like, oh no, but he's a journalist. Like if the reaction to this story is a lot of media members throughout the NBA, they're very defensive towards the guy that wrote the article. They're giving him a lot of bail.
Bro, it's one thing to criticize the athlete, right? But dude, like his brother's dead and his son, they're not basketball players, they're not public entities. What's the point?
Yeah, it's just
It's just shit.
Yeah, I mean the article don't even make sense. You mentioned his dead brother and son and legacy. Then next minute you tell the guy to show up to work. Like
Yeah, what does that got to
is,
do with anything?
Yeah, it really doesn't. You could have just said like, hey, he needs to show up. His team needs him. He could have did that.
You could have did all that without mentioning the guy's son. You know what I mean? Like if he said, "Oh, I'm like a top 5 best player in the league," then you make that argument like, "Oh, at least show up to work if you're gonna make bold statements."
Yeah, but this is what Windhorse was talking about.
Yes.
The media is not really in a good place. It's very like microwavable. It's like they put stuff out for consumption and it gets thrown away because it's just like a headline, it's a title, it's a meme, and that's it. There's no nuance, there's no storytelling, and that does hold up the league. That does hold up the league.
I'm willing to concede that talking point, right? But do fans want like a storytelling within what their product? We are fans. We're super fans of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
That's a given. But do the average fan that's like, watches NBA in passing or watches it with friends or watches it just to start a discussion, a coffee table conversation, do they care? Like, do they care that much about like, oh, Jason Tatum's struggle or Jokic, Giannis' struggle and to make it to the finals?
They probably don't, but the thing is that opportunity of them knowing the storyline is not even given to them because what basically had happened, I think maybe social media and just overall the internet, it kind of scared the big broadcasting companies like ESPN. They had to adapt fast, but they adapted to a clickbait shit. They didn't necessarily adapt to the storytelling. You could just post it online now. You could have the whole discussion about it through some message boards, maybe even on a Reddit. Maybe ESPN could have had a Reddit thread where they actually controlled it, like and they talked about it and put it on SportsCenter or put it on First Take. Let's see what they're saying in the threads. They could have did segments like that, but they did not adapt. They didn't adapt fast enough, and by the time they're forced to adapt because people are getting out of cable, their first reaction is to like, oh, let's go get all the online personalities and let's be clickbaity. Like that's their first adaptation. So it's kind of strange. It's almost like everything now is reactionary and it's making the landscape seem a little funny. Like once again with the NBA Finals, instead of talking about Jason Tatum and what they went through, they filled up the time talking about JJ Redick and the Lakers coaching hire.
Yes.
Like this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like they've become, nobody cared about that watching the finals. Most Laker fans were not watching that finals.
No,
their
they couldn't
team
be
is
bothered.
not in it. So like what exactly, like think about it. The only fans that were watching it was Maverick fans and Celtics fans mostly.
Yeah.
So but they weren't talking to them. During the halftime shows, they were not talking to that audience. They were talking to a different audience. That's
they
the shit I
want
don't
to
even
cater
understand.
to like. They want to cater to a couple of fan base instead of the overall NBA landscape, and it's kind of bad. It's whack.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very unfortunate, but at the end of the day, with the Pat McAfee and all the adaptations that they're making, you could tell that they're reacting. The Pat McAfee is a good hire, but a lot of the stuff that they have done throughout the years, it's been reactionary, and a lot of the journalists, they're caught in the crossfires. They're in the middle of it all because They got to be trolly, but at the same time, they got to enter these locker rooms. And these guys, they're going to press them. At some point, somebody's going to get pressed. Somebody's going to write
Someone's
some
getting their
crazy
ass
shit.
kicked.
Like Stephen A. Smith, he's lucky Kyrie didn't press him.
Yeah. Oh, when he did the whole like, you should retire now over the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, they basically try to erase what he already has done over
Yes.
some ideology, man. Like at the end of the day, it's your opinion, man. Like nobody's being affected by it.
But your opinion should like, if your opinion's like, if I say something that hurts your feelings, right? I cannot act above if you ever try to press me. Like that's just you being like weird. Like you're just being a weirdo at that point, you know?
Mm-hmm. But as soon as they get pressed, they say, "Oh, I'm a journalist.
Yeah, that's
I'm
whack.
hiding behind
Like,
journalism." Like,
but that's just the most dishonest thing you could do. Because then don't talk tough shit. You know what I mean? Like don't talk about another person's family. If like your reaction will be like this journalistic credibility, because there's nothing credible about the Marcus fella's statement. Nothing credible about that statement.
Yeah, he's just he's kind of reaching, but that's his
He's
job
being a
now.
douchebag.
Yeah, he's reaching that, but that's unfortunate for him. That's his job because he didn't necessarily have to write that, but in the gray area of like trying to find something controversial and writing the
You want
story.
clicks.
Yeah, they have to kind of be in the middle of that. And I think that's what Windhorse was kind of say. The business, unfortunately,
Yes.
is making the landscape seem kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, Philly, man, they got a lot of problems ahead of them anyway. But yeah, I mean, but the media, going back to the media landscape, that's what I say it's interesting because we get the players' perspective now and we get the media members' perspective. The media members now are doing interviews. Like that's what I found.
They're
that
a lot
real
more
interesting.
bold now. They're a lot more bold.
Yeah, they're a lot more bold, but I think they're giving more nuances overall. NBA machine of how it's working.
Yes.
Because I think in the future, streaming right now is not really proven to be profitable. I don't know how long ESPN is going to be able to run that network when
It's gonna turn. I mean, Disney already owns it for sure. It's just gonna turn into Disney.
Yeah, but does Disney want to maintain that bill that it comes with? If people like next fall, ESPN is gonna launch their own Netflix type app, their own direct to consumer app. If people don't subscribe to that at a certain rate, that network is done.
Oh yeah, it's done.
It's done. Like they can only watch their dollars out of cable dwindle every single year.
But I assume it's gonna be like an ESPN Disney collaboration. Like no way they're not doing it a part of a bundle or something.
Oh yeah, they're gonna do a part of a bundle, but at the end of the day, the money that they get out of cable, out of like your grandma paying an extra $10, extra like $30 on her bill because ESPN package is on there, even though she don't watch it. Those days are dwindling.
Done.
Those days are dwindling. So it's like now they gotta rely on the subscription, and if people don't like what's on there, then they're gonna unsubscribe. It's because the subscription is not a contract. They can unsubscribe. That's why they got Pat McAfee, because he has a large fan base. So they're hoping people will subscribe to that app because they want to see Pat.
Is UFC still under contract?
I don't know, man. ESPN killed UFC. Oh my God. They
I
killed
don't
that
watch
shit.
UFC, so you probably know more.
No, I don't. I ever since it got on ESPN, I don't really watch it like that no more.
Nah.
Nope.
Because that was a big deal from what I remember.
Yeah, I liked when Dana White had it direct to consumer on pay-per-view. It was better like that.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
I think that was on the app, right?
Yes, it's crazy. You have to like subscribe twice.
Oh, fuck that shit.
Yeah, you gotta pay. I remember. I haven't looked at it in a while, but you had to pay for ESPN Plus, and then in ESPN Plus, it gave you the opportunity to buy it again.
Yes.
Something like
you might
that.
as well bootleg it.
Yeah, it's like man. I'm like, man, it's not even that serious, bro.
It's not worth that trouble,
Yeah,
bro.
it's not even that serious.
You might as well just go to one of those crack streams or something,
Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, because they were on ESPN, Dana White and his fighters, well, I say mainly his fighters, they lost the ability to have their own sponsors on their clothes. They have
shit. So they don't have They don't have like, you remember they used to have like niche sponsors on their like shorts and
Yeah,
shit.
they lost
They
that
don't have it anymore.
opportunity. Yeah, they couldn't do that anymore.
Shit.
Yeah, no, I don't think that thing was good for the fighters. I think Dana White got
No.
paid, and that was the rest of the money, man. Like a lot of those fighters, man, they're not gonna see as much as a purse as they think. They were better off
Man,
just staying on pay-per-view, man.
That's probably all they cared about, bro.
Yeah, Dana White cashed out, but it is what it is, you know. Like I said, ESPN, it's gonna be real interesting because streaming is not profitable. NBC, all these apps, they have the NFL, and
Yeah.
the NFL help them to get closer to profit, you know, being profitable. But for the most part, these companies, they're saying they're shelling out money because of streaming.
Yeah.
It costs a
shelling
lot of
out-
money.
And they're shelling out money on like Emmy, like shows that could be Emmy baits, like something that they know, like, oh, it could be the next Sopranos or Dexter or Breaking Bad, or they're
Mhm.
shelling onto like sports leagues.
Yeah, they got a lot of contracts signed, but we'll see. We'll see how ESPN pivots. But I wouldn't be shocked if we see less talent on air. Like you're gonna see like a huge talent on air, and the rest of the people surrounding them, we're not gonna know who they are. Like I feel like it's gonna come down to that. It's like they're gonna pay the person that's gonna bring the eyeballs to the television screen, and then everybody else is like you never heard of them before.
Yes.
It slowly happened like that on ESPN right now. Like everybody that's on ESPN right now has their own, like trying to make their own platform.
Dude, the only person I know is Stephen A. Smith.
Exactly. But like even Molly Karam, it's not even guaranteed that she's gonna be around unless Stephen A. Smith wants her to be around. Like says, okay, like, oh, I need Molly on my team. Like he would have to vouch for these people like that. Cause that network right now, like they're not trying to pay for anyone that doesn't bring value to the company directly.
They got rid of Zach Lowe, right? Not long ago.
Yo, and that was the tall tale sign. When they got rid of Zach Lowe, that's the best NBA analyst. They said, hey, the articles that you write and the 1 or 2 appearances you make a week, man, that shit, it can't justify the money that we're paying you. We have to let you go.
Is this podcast one of the highest streaming podcasts on Spotify?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's the craziest part. They're basically saying it costs too much money to run these things. And it does. It costs a lot of money to pay a whole production team, put the shit together. It's not like Zach Lowe records it and puts it together himself. It costs them a lot of money to have Zach Lowe in the studio, record it, get his guests together, make sure the audio's right. And then someone puts it all together and then posts it.
Yes.
To have someone do that for a whole year with Zach Lowe, it costs a lot of money. And then at the same time, you're gonna pay Zach Lowe $1 million, $2 million a year. They can't justify paying him that no more. They're just like, hey, it is profitable, but at the same time, we're shelling out too much money. We might as well put the resources into something else. That's for the premier. Most people who are writers for the NBA or even podcasters, they aspire to be on Zach Lowe's level. But Zach Lowe's level today, it only works if you sort of are self-sufficient. Like Zach Lowe would have to hire his own crew and kind of run the ship himself. Like he could actually make a lot of money
production
doing
work,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, he could make a lot of money doing that, just running the ship himself.
No, 100%. Because now everything's like podcasting now.
Yep. And ESPN it costs a lot of money. The cameraman, having the audio, flying people in. It's like they're running a huge ship, and nowadays they're actually seeing how much money people bring in versus, we're just hiring the guy because he's a personality. There's like, yeah, but is he translating to ratings, to etc.? Like Zach Lowe, no one's gonna rush and watch. No offense to him, but no one's gonna rush and watch SportsCenter because Zach Lowe's making an appearance.
No, fuck no.
No.
They'll watch it on YouTube if like they're using the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Or they'll listen to his show when he has it weekly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
but
that's even depending on guest, Yeah.
No, but they're gonna listen to it regardless. He's like one of the top podcasts. But the thing is, right?
Yes.
Is it worth paying him $2 million before you even run the podcast? You got to pay for ESPN has to pay for someone to produce it. So not only you're paying him the $2 million, you're paying for the production involved with it. Like, that's the part that I think they struggle with. He's valuable, but he's not valuable. I have to pay him as a salary employee, and I have to pay for production. Because those production people, you got to pay them benefits, salary. That's a whole nother thing. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a whole nother thing. So, but the Zach Lowe, I don't want to say firing, just them letting him go. That shook up a lot of writers. A lot of writers are shaking up.
100%.
Yeah, but you know, they shouldn't be shaken up. It means that, you know, they have to take more control of their situation.
Yeah, you can't be relying on those Godfather medias.
Yeah. And now he has the freedom to actually say what he wants. He doesn't have to hide behind like politics of the network. And
he can make whatever he wants and put it out.
Exactly.
Yes. Like, oh, we're expecting, you know, this much. We need this because the network drive whatever storyline, you know?
Mm-hmm. But it's funny because the landscape now, it changed. It's a little different. It's more online driven now, as you see a lot of the personalities leaving the networks, because it's real expensive to run those networks now, especially with people moving off of cable. Brian Windhorst actually sat down with Giannis's brother. What's his name? Thanasis. Yes. The ever-ending memes of Thanasis. That guy is funny as hell, man. It has like the funniest videos of him just getting excited. But they actually spoke on the media landscape. And once again, the way things are, you got players with their own podcasts. You got media members now of the NBA actually sitting down on podcasts and kind of revealing a lot of the behind the scenes. And Windhorst gave insight to the media landscape of how now it's no longer about storytelling and just getting into the deeper nuances of the game. It's more about the clickbait, the trolling, the highlights, the lowlights, the memeable shit. He kind of gets deeper into it. So let's check it out.
Yeah, but I would say that we're not in a great place with media right now. We're not in a great place because I think we're devaluing things. I'm gonna sound like an old man here. I think we're devaluing things that help build the league up. Like one of the things that storytelling. Yes. Everything's too short right now. People are too focused on tweets, too focused on guys getting crossed over, too focused on guys getting dunked on.
Lowlights.
People getting embarrassed, you know.
Yes.
Social media posts, not as much on storytelling, like learning about players and learning their backgrounds and you know, what I call chronicling the season. Yeah. Like talking about what's going on in the season, like nuance and stuff like that. You know, when you're really into your team and you know about all the players and you know, there's special features done on them. Like just the other day, Inside Stuff. You remember that show at all? Mm-hmm. It was a show that was on every Saturday, and they just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. The show itself, whatever, got inducted to the Hall of Fame. And they used to like tell I was on every Saturday when I was a kid, Ahmad Rashad and Willow Bay. And they would tell stories of players.
So just like how we was talking about earlier, with the way they shorten everything now, everything is about the titles, the clickbait. That's the business that Stephen A. Smith is in. But sometimes when he gets pressed about his comments, like so he gets backlash from KD or Embiid or LeBron or whoever. Yeah. They hide behind this shield of journalism.
Yes, like we're the nerds.
Yeah,
you guys are the big guys.
No, it's not even that. It's they hide behind some fake ethics of quote unquote journalism. Oh,
integrity.
I'm a journalist. They try to act all high and mighty and hide behind that shield. It's a weird song and dance that they play, and Stephen A. Smith does this a lot, and we've seen it play out a lot. What Brian Windhorst was talking about right here. During the NBA Finals with the storytelling, instead of talking about Tatum and Jaylen Brown's journey, getting eliminated by Jimmy Butler, the heartbreaking losses to LeBron in their rookie year in the Eastern Conference Finals, them trying to get over the hump,
Kyrie struggle,
the Kemba Walker struggle, the getting to the finals, losing to Steph Curry. They didn't talk about none of that. What they talked about is that Jason Tatum, I don't know. He's not gonna get MVP. It's gonna be Drew Holiday. It's gonna be Porzingis. Like,
Is he a top 10 player? Yes.
yeah,
I mean,
that's what they hollowed it
yeah.
down to.
I mean, you could have done, like I said, you highlighted a lot of it. Also, Gordon Hayward, losing Gordon Hayward in your rookie year, you know?
Yeah,
Or, you know what, for like, even added to that, Jason Tatum now trying to figure it out with Gordon Hayward, the all-star on their team. Like, you could have done a lot more of narrative-driven, like, storylines. But they didn't bother. I think with him, they didn't bother. I think even Nikola Jokic, like, last year, bro, that was another ball drop. Because you're talking about a guy who got drafted during a fucking Taco Bell commercial. Like, no way you couldn't run a timepiece on him, you know?
facts.
Like, Jokic had a lot of struggle. And, like, you remember the whole storyline? Like, from, like, 5, 6 years ago when it was the question, not even 5, 6, like 7, 8 years ago when, is Jokic going to fit next to, is Jokic going or Yusuf Nurkic going?
Yeah,
You
it's
could have
just
done a lot of storytelling.
yeah, they just don't. And a lot of these analysts, they don't watch the game. They don't even keep up with the league. They
No,
have
they
no
don't.
idea. A lot of them are scrolling online. They're seeing what people are talking about, and then they
It's
sort
about
of
Twitter feeds.
yeah,
Yes.
and then they just sort of attach themselves to it, but they don't understand any of the nuances. They're just
No.
it's not necessary. Not Brian Windhorst, of course. He's more deep into it, but it's unfortunate. A lot of the analysts that you see on ESPN, they're like that. There's way more of them. That's like that.
Also, credit to Windhorst. He does a lot. He does a good job with LeBron's storyline.
Yeah, he does. You know who